Hello students and welcome to our channel Science is Solution. I am Manju Sharma taking your bio classes, and today's class will be covering a very important human physiology topic, that is structure of human heart. We'll be going through all the details of it along with the detailed diagram, so it is very important. We will know in details about the shape, size and location of the heart, about the pericardium, which is the protective covering, external structure of the heart, internal structure, and most importantly the valve. So the class is going to be a bit important, so it's very important for you to watch it till the end to know each and every details. And also don't forget to hit the subscribe button, which would help you a lot to prepare for your upcoming exam. So, human heart is located in the thoracic cavity and it is a hollow and muscular organ. It lies a little to the left of the midline of the thoracic cavity. The heart of an average person at rest beats about 70 to 80 times in a minute. We do also call it as the pulse rate. Pericardium, which is the protective covering of the heart. You can see in the picture very clearly there is a jelly-like structure covering the heart. It's like something transparent white sheath. So our heart is enclosed in a double-walled sac, which is called as pericardium, and there are two layers, the outer fibrous layer and the inner serous layer. In between the two layers there is a very narrow space called pericardial cavity, which is filled with the pericardial fluid, which acts as lubricant between the two pericardial layers. That's why there is no friction between the heart walls and the surrounding tissues, and which allows the heart to move smoothly. Now we'll be going through the details of the external structures. You can see very clearly in the picture. Look at the diagram. We can see clearly there are four chambers, two upper thin layered atria and two lower thick layered ventricles. Atria, which are situated at the upper broader end, and the ventricles at the lower conical end. Atria, there are left atria and right atria in the upper part. The right atrium, it receives the deoxygenated blood from all the parts of the body except the lungs through the superior and inferior vena cava. You can see in the picture the superior vena cava, it collects the blood from all the upper body parts. That means the veins of all the upper body parts, they collect in the superior vena cava to give out all the deoxygenated blood, and similarly all the deoxygenated blood from the lower part of our body is collected in the inferior vena cava, and both these vena cava, they open up into the right atrium to pour all the deoxygenated blood. On the other hand, the left atrium receives pulmonary veins, which bring oxygenated blood to the left atrium from the lungs. The left and the right atria pump their blood into the right and left ventricles respectively. That means the right atrium pumps its blood into the right ventricle and the left atrium pumps its blood into the left ventricle. That's why the right side, it deals with the deoxygenated blood and is blue in color in the given diagram, and the left side, it deals with the oxygenated blood and is red in color in the given diagram. If this concept is clear to you, kindly hit on the like button because it motivates us a lot to create more detailed videos for you. So guys, ventricles, there are left and right ventricles in the lower part of the heart, which have thick walls. The walls of the left ventricle is about 3 times thicker than the right one because it has to pump the blood into a greater force so that the blood or the oxygenated blood could reach through all the parts of the body. From the right ventricle arises a pulmonary trunk, which bifurcates to form right and left pulmonary arteries, which supply deoxygenated blood to the lungs of the respective sides. That means the right pulmonary artery supplies deoxygenated blood to the right lung and the left pulmonary artery supplies deoxygenated blood to the left lung so that it gets oxygenated and comes back as pulmonary veins into the left atrium. The left ventricle gives rise to an aorta. Look at the internal structure of the heart. The diagram speaks very clearly that internally the heart is four-chambered: right atrium, right ventricle and the left ventricle. And there is a complete separation of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. Atria, there are two atria, right and left, and they are thin-walled, as you can see in the picture. They act as the reservoirs for the blood entering into the heart. The two atria are separated from each other by a partition called as interatrial septum. The right atrium receives the openings of superior vena cava, inferior vena cava and coronary sinus, as we have already seen in the previous slide. Ventricles, there are two ventricles, right and left. The ventricles, they have thicker walls. The reason behind is that they have to pump out the blood with a great force away from the heart. The right one to the pulmonary artery and the left one to aorta. The two ventricles are separated from each other by a thick curved partition called as interventricular septum. You can see it very clearly, and it is this interventricular septum which prevents the mixing up of the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. Now let's come to the last but not the least point, that is the valves of the heart. There are four valves in the heart, and we can categorize them into two major categories. One is the atrioventricular or AV valves. That means the valve which lies between the atria and the ventricles. So the valves which lie between atria and ventricles are called as atrioventricular valves. There are two AV valves. Right AV valve which lies between right atrium and right ventricle, which is also known as tricuspid valve because it consists of three flaps or cusps. The left AV valve lies between left atrium and left ventricle. It is also known as bicuspid valve. Similarly, it is because it consists of two cusps. It is also known as mitral valve. The next category is the semilunar valve, which are present in the major arteries which leave the heart, that is, the pulmonary artery and the aorta. These valves are called semilunar valves because their cusps are semilunar in shape, and these prevent the backflow of blood into the ventricles. The pulmonary semilunar valve guards the opening of the right ventricle from where the pulmonary trunk begins. You can see there in the picture. It's very clear that the aortic semilunar valve guards the ascending aorta. So these are the four types of valves present in the human heart. I hope the detailed structure of human heart is clear to you by this video lecture. So, thank you for watching. Kindly hit the like button and subscribe. Bye.